Hey everybody, it's your old pal Tristan here, and I'm back from the library with another book review. This week, we're checking out True Indie by Don Coscarelli, Life and Death in Filmmaking. So, for those of you that don't know, Don Coscarelli is an independent filmmaker mainly known for his cult works. Stuff like Bubba Hotep, John Dies at the End, and my personal favorite, Phantasm. So this book came out towards the tail end of last year. I actually got it as a Christmas gift and proceeded to burn through it very quickly. And I gotta say, I am very impressed. This thing was a lot of fun. It almost reads like eating popcorn. I have a hard time digesting things in one go. I don't like long chapters or things that are overly dense. Coscarelli, whose main experience in writing is his own film scripts and screenplays, makes this a very easy book to digest. The chapters are very short. I found myself regularly picking the book up being like, oh, I'll just read one chapter, because a lot of times it was just 1 page or 2 pages front and back. And then I would be like, okay, well, another. Oh, how about another? And another and another and another. And I just got sucked into it. Whereas a lot of chapters in books that are drawn out, I find it hard to commit to reading it all in one go. I'm not one of those guys that likes to stick the bookmark in and come back later. I like to consume a single thought all at once. So Don Coscarelli's writing style really made this a fun read. On top of that, if you've ever seen him interviewed, this book reads the way he speaks. There's very few authors who I've read where I can actually hear their voice, including in biographies. I could actually hear him speaking in this book as though he was standing next to me, which made it all the more pleasurable as an experience. But anyways, moving on to the meat. This book is essentially a nuts and bolts approach to no-budget filmmaking. In a way, it almost feels like a how-to guide. It tells of his early beginning, his family life, growing up in high school, things like that, the relationships and the friendships he cultivated. But it shifts gears very quickly. That's just pretty much to give you a little setup. The rest of it is essentially, by the numbers, how he made each movie of his. From his first independent film that got picked up by Universal Pictures to his most recent efforts. Don Coscarelli he's kind of like George Romero in the fact that he's always stayed outside of the studio system. He's skirted with it a few times, and you can tell reading the book that not even necessarily like he got burned, but he loves the freedom. He loves the independence. There's a lot of perks that come from making movies with big studios, and he does enjoy that, particularly just allowing your movie to be seen by a wider audience. It's not as difficult to distribute. But he loves the independence, he loves the freedom that comes with making independent movies. This book is also structured in a sort of way, like there's little hints throughout the writing and the chapter headings, like for instance, the end of the book where they have the acknowledgements, the special thanks, it's listed as end credits roll. The experience of reading this book, because it's so fast-paced, so engaging, it almost feels like making a movie. And there's that cinematic sensibility to everything. He opens by telling this story from the making of Phantasm as sort of a hook, and then he cuts it off, and you think he's going to acknowledge it later when he goes into the making of that movie, but he never does. He doesn't come back to that until the very end. So the prologue and the epilogue work as perfect bookends, almost like a flashback sequence. But yeah, I've read a lot of books on filmmaking. I'm an aspiring filmmaker myself, and I love genre films. So this is really a no-brainer for me, and I can't emphasize how fun and addictive this book was. Like, it's an old cliche that, once you pick it up, you can't put it down. This is one of those books. And also, just look at the artwork on this thing. Like, the front and the back, everything about it is just, oh God, it's just beautifully produced. So whether you're a fan of Coscarelli, horror movies, or you're just dreaming the independent dream of wanting to make a movie, I can't recommend True Indie enough. I think you're really going to enjoy it. This is something that if I had had it in high school, I would have just eaten it up. It's a down and dirty roadmap for how to get into making movies. So thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, check out some of the other stuff, and I'll see you next time.